Kalshaale and Buhodle are free, Tukoraq and Lasanod should be free as well. I want to start with a little story about a young man by the name of Abdullahi Jama. Abdul was 16 years old, he lived near Buhodle city, he always wanted to study at Horde Secondary School, he also had a dream of having access to a computer and one day open up his Facebook account. Unfortunately his life was cut short as he was one of dozens who lost their lives. Abdul was killed by a lethal bullet that hit him in his private parts. Over the past year, hundreds of people were massacred and murdered in Sool Sanark and Kane. These people never crossed any border to attack anyone, ladies and gentlemen, they were killed right in their own homes. Kalshaale, Maygargal, Suljugtu, Hagugan, Lasanod, Zudden, Yargowri, Oog, Bookame and more, lest we forget all those who died for the SSC Union. Since 1991, after the collapse of the central government, the elders of SSC have been talked and deceived into too many false alliances. We are neighbors, we can build this together, you have been let down too many times. The Hargeysa administration, instead of keeping neighborly relations, the favor has been returned to you by way of tribal manipulations and military invasions, some of which still stand today. Your young girls are afraid to venture out in the forest to accompany the goats and sheep. Remember little Halima who was raped and brutally murdered in the outskirts of Zudden. Young journalists flee the homes for fear and the threat of being killed. Bullying armies are moving in from the north and threatening new neighborhoods every day. One after the other as Somaliland uses violence to occupy SSC regions, from Yargowri, Ardia Dai, Lasanod, Talay and now Tukoraq. Do you follow the decade-old calculus here? The people of SSC have spoken. Majority of the Groads and 30 Karkiels, along with dozens of intellectuals, women's groups and members of civil society have chosen a new path to defend the Dervish land by joining forces at the Tukoraq theater. I want to start by thanking our military men, especially the boys of Kalshaale and the famous Buhodle brigades who kept our region safe and free. If we have defended Kalshaale and Buhodle, we can certainly liberate Tukoraq and Lasanod. Remember in 2007. We were free people until the SNM militia has invaded the SSC capital. Nobody came to our aid. All we are trying to do here is to undo a decade of occupation, oppression and humiliation. This is a call for action. Ladies and gentlemen, SSC and qormo youth around the globe need to gather and help lead efforts to lift our people out of poverty and hopelessness. Who are you waiting for? No one else is going to come to your town and distribute fairly the UN food and other donations. No one else is going to come to your town and genuinely work and establish business and economic opportunities for your people. See, leadership is not about keeping your investment dollars in other regions or even countries while your people die on the roads on the back of a camel as they seek medical help in neighboring regions. You know, as they say, if you don't plan, someone else is going to plan for you. If you do not establish security services for your gas and oil resources such as whole, someone else is going to claim what's rightfully yours. If you do not establish health or banking services, construction companies, livestock trading and telecommunications, someone else is going to do it for you, making you the loyal and happy customer whose taxes are never invested in her region. Here, you can teach Western aid agencies a lesson or two about resilience and self-reliance. See, for too long, you have been relegated to second-class citizen. You have even been deemed a disputed person. See, since birth, you have always been yourself, and nobody disputed your Dorvish DNA. See, with SSC forces in Tukoraq, you are more than an NGO statistic. You are SSC and SSC is you. As for the alternative, my friends. You have tried too many times, even your former qormo president has tried and it hasn't worked. Your people are still worse off, your schools are in ruins, your hospitals crumbling, your young men and women have been turned into cheap labor, cheap soldiers and even mercenaries for hire against their own people. A criminal act of colossal proportions by Somaliland. SSC qormo is the tie that binds and unites Sool Sanark and Kane. See, SSC needs you to trust and believe in it, because without you, it cannot actually grow or even exist. You need it to use it as your flashlight to guide you and illuminate the dark pathways that connect your underdeveloped towns and cities that have been willfully abandoned and neglected by predatory administrations like SL. For example, you can fly direct from Mogadishu to Buhodle, but you can't fly direct from Mogadishu to Lasanod, a direct result of Somaliland's political and economic oppression in the region. With your help, qormo can flush out and shed light on the atrocities and political and economic injustices perpetrated against your people. With your support, qormo can help you to realize your dreams and aspirations for a better life. It has reignited our collective imagination. Students across the qormo landscape can learn the Darawalish history as told to them by their own historians. Young pregnant mothers who need medical help in Kalshaale and Buhodle can be immediately transported and flown to overseas hospitals right from their own airports. We are not from Somaliland. We are not from a disputed land. We are from the promised land of SSC. In the current Somali politicking dominated by regional administrations and city-states, the need to organize and exercise your constitutional right to self-governance has never been greater. I understand that change is difficult, but imagine if Tukoraq and Lasanod continue to oppress for another decade. SSC people are not against any particular group of people or administration. SSC does not go out and invade other people's territories. SSC is advocating for the peaceful stay of its own God-given land. Is that too much to ask? SSC is advocating for better health, education and employment services for its people. SSC is advocating for the peaceful coexistence with all its regional neighbors. See any identity other than SSS qormo is a trip backwards to tribal land. Let's never move backwards to another decade of oppression. Together we can move forward and return to Tukoraq and Lasanod as free people. You are the ones you have been waiting for. God bless the people of SSC. Thank you. A. Hindi.